Labeled by some basketball experts as the female version of LeBron James, Elena Della Donne came out of high school as the most highly prized female player in the country. And after starring at Ursuline Academy in Wilmington, Delaware, the former National Player of the Year was on her way to even greater prominence. The 6'5" guard enrolled at U-Conn, one of the nation's premier women's basketball powerhouses, owners of 6 national championships. So in the summer of 2008, Della Donne showed up in Storrs, Connecticut, stayed a short time, and turned around and left. For good. At the time, Della Donne thought she was burned out on basketball. But more than a year later, the 20-year-old, who'd never spent more than a week away from her family, says she was simply homesick.
Back when it was in the moment, I was blaming basketball for taking me away from home, so therefore I hated the sport. I despised it. I didn't want to play it. Every time I was playing, it made me feel sick to my stomach. But I didn't realize that that feeling was that I'm going to have to leave my family, especially leave my sister, who can't even communicate with me when I'm gone.
That's because Lizzie Della Donne, Elena's older sister, is blind, deaf, and has cerebral palsy. Having spent her whole life around her, it was difficult for Elena to leave for any period of time. But now she doesn't have to, having enrolled at the University of Delaware, which is about 20 minutes from home.
I was blaming basketball for taking me away from home when it really was the whole recruiting process. I didn't know what I wanted out of it. And the year at Delaware helped me realize that I should have been looking at schools closer to home, and because my family is so important to me.
From a society standpoint, everybody, the #1 player in the country, everybody thinks they should go to the #1 school in the country, or at least to a top 10. And I just think that there was a lot of pressure on Elena, and she did what she thought she was supposed to do, but then realized, you know, that she had different feelings towards being away from home.
After a sports detour of sorts, this year she's back on the basketball court, bursting with enthusiasm. You see, during her freshman year, Della Donne took a sabbatical from hoops and spent the season playing volleyball. But that proved to be just a temporary diversion.
Volleyball was a lot of fun, but it wasn't really my sport, and I really missed playing basketball, and I wanted to do it full throttle, so I ended up giving up volleyball and coming back to the sport.
But it did take a little while for Della Donne to get comfortable with the idea of playing hoops again. She started talking to Coach Martin in mid-March, taking a low-key approach to her comeback.
And I was just like, hey coach, do you think I could get in and shoot or something? So like, she wasn't shocked that I was starting to think about basketball, but I finally told her probably the end of April, and she wasn't too shocked because she kind of could tell there was something going on.
I figured at some point, I didn't know when, a year, 2 years, whenever, she would come and to me and hopefully say, yes, you know, I would like to play here at the University of Delaware. But I wasn't banking on that. I wasn't counting on that. I wanted her to be happy, and I thought the best way to give her happiness was to leave her alone.
Now that happiness has returned and the highest scoring player in Delaware high school history is back playing basketball with the Blue Hens, Della Donne says she can't wait for the season to start. Delaware fans are pretty eager too. Season ticket sales have more than tripled.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's exciting for Delaware fans to have a person who's been born and raised here playing college basketball, and coming out of high school and being ranked the #1 player in the country is also a pretty big thing, so I guess they're excited about that, but I just can't wait to play in front of a home crowd again.
Home sweet home. Dave Lebeski, The Associated Press.